Today is your last chance to pre-order some pretty awesome books, so we're going to take a look at today's FOC catalog deadlines. Welcome back to Comics Are Dope. I'm BJ Kicks, and this is FOC. This is my weekly series where I take a look at the previews catalog. I tell you which books are coming up on their FOC deadline. For the uninitiated, FOC stands for Final Order Cutoff. It is the last chance for your local comic shop to place an order for a book before the print run is set by the publisher. Simply put, if you order your books before the FOC deadline, you don't have to worry about them being out of stock on release date when it's time for you to go get them, and they'll be waiting for you in your box on your pull list. So, with all that said, let's go ahead and get to this week's FOC picks for Final Order Cutoff deadline being Sunday, April 2nd, and Monday, April 3rd. Um, Lots of stuff that I'm pretty interested in. So let's go ahead with the first one. It's the one I'm probably most excited for. This is Green Arrow #1 from DC Comics, of course, written by Joshua Williamson with art by Sean Isaacs. I think that's how you say his name. But basically, if you're not familiar, if you don't know, during the whole Dark Crisis event, Green Arrow kind of got lost in the time stream or like between one of these infinite universes or whatever, right? So the whole premise of this series is that the Green Arrow family has to go out and find him. So we got Red Arrow, we got was it Speedy? Oh, well, anyway, Speedy, Red Arrow, whatever. Connor Hawk, Black Canary, and some others, but I'll leave that to you guys to discover. They're gonna basically go on a mission trying to find Oliver Queen. So that's interesting to me. Josh Williamson has said that this series is meant to be accessible, but it's also a Green Arrow book for Green Arrow fans. So it's going to be a lot of Easter eggs, a lot of deep cuts that if you are a fan of Oliver Queen, you will appreciate. I'm hoping that it's still, good enough for me as my first Green Arrow #1, my first Green Arrow ongoing. So that'll be cool. It's in shops on April 25th, but the final order cutoff deadline is this weekend. And I don't know if I got that retail price right. Give me just a second, because I'm pretty sure. Oh no, retail price is $3.99. That's what's up. That's what's up. Usually with these #1s, you'll see $4.99, $5.99. So that's cool. But let's move on. That's the only DC book on the list this week. Next up is a new #1 from Marvel. This is Groot #1, written by Dan Abnett, art by Damian Cachero. This cover is by Lee Garbett. This is basically a prequel series. Like, who was Groot before he was a Guardian of the Galaxy? Pretty sure Dan Abnett had a Guardians of the Galaxy run, right? But anyway, oh yeah, clearly it says it right here on the screen. But anyway, before he was a Guardian of the Galaxy, before the Groot fall, young Groot lived a life of tranquility on his serene homeworld. When invaders attack the planet, he's got to accept his heroic destiny. And it's going to bring him face to face with a young Kree soldier by the name of Marvel, the original Captain Marvel. So that's interesting. It'll be in shops on May the 3rd. Final order cutoff is this weekend, though. Um, I don't really read a bunch of like cosmic stuff, so Guardians of the Galaxy is not a book that's typically on my radar. But everybody loves Groot, right? Right. All right. Another title coming up on FOC this weekend. This is from Image Comics. Oh, that's dope. All right. This is from Image Comics. And it's called Deep Cuts #1. Written by Kyle Higgins and Joe Clark. Art by Danilo Beyruth. It's all right. I'll just read the solicit because it's just that dope. New Orleans, 1917. In the city's bustling red light district, a young clarinet player lands a job with his hero, but he'll soon discover there's more to the music business than playing the right notes. And then it says, a whip smart new miniseries is perfect for music fans searching for a story with depth and redemption. Now, what's interesting is like a title like this is not something that I know Kyle Higgins for. I know he did a lot of stuff with the Power Rangers. Most recently, I've read Radiant Black from Kyle Higgins. And to be fair, there's a lot of emotional depth in Radiant Black, or at least through the first 2 volumes, that I think that it's not like this type of storytelling that's outside of his personality. It's just outside of what his resume sort of offers. So I understand there are some people that kind of view this with a little bit of trepidation, but this type of story is just right up my alley. So anyway, that's pretty cool. I read the little preview, but one thing what I was geeking out about just a second ago, the Image Comics logo at the bottom of the title, they like moved the dot over the I, so it looks kind of like the Blue Note logo, and I'm like, that's just a genius little trick or little gimmick there. I don't know what you want to call it, but it's fun. I'm glad it's there. Anyway, there's going to be a 6 issue series. Apparently, it's going to be a long. Each book is going to be a little bit oversized. 6 double length issues, and it's going to be wow. Yeah, apparently, there's going to be a bunch of different artists. So we'll see how it goes. I'm definitely going to grab the first issue, and if it intrigues me, I'll grab the rest of them as well. In stores on April 26th, and final order cutoff for this is April the 3rd. So next up, another indie book from Scout Comics. This is Quicksand #1, written by Jonathan Hedrick. We met at Heroes Con last year, but I can't remember how do you say his last name. Anyway, art by Deborah Lancenes. After a mysterious hole opens in the Egyptian desert, horrific creatures climb out and wreak havoc on a nearby city. They retreat as quickly as they arrive, leaving the planet in shock by this unfathomable event. A team of elite specialists from around the globe called Canary One are sent after the monsters to discover more about them. When the crew never returns, the world must prepare for the possibility of another wave of attacks. That's interesting. I forgot to change the FOC date on the spreadsheet, but it is on FOC this weekend, April the 3rd, Monday. So grab that. Just a fun indie monster title. Like, I don't typically read a bunch of horror books, but I can do monster hunting. And that's just the premise just sounded really interesting to me. So grab that if you're interested. Retail price on it is $4.99. Let me make sure because I something tells no, it's $4.99. I just didn't change the FOC date on the spreadsheet. So anyway, next up, a hardcover. This was actually from Dark Horse Entertainment. It's a collection, and this is Masquerade by Kevin Smith. Comic collection marks the debut of Kevin Smith's Secret Stash Press imprint with an exciting and great vigilante story, or gritty vigilante story. Social media star and shock TV sensation as one of the most recognizable faces in the world, so she can't capture and kill the butchers who murdered her little brother, experimented on her when she was a child, unless she looks like someone else. The face of justice is reshaped forever in Masquerade. So this collects Masquerade issues 1 through 4. For those who are fans of Kevin Smith, but maybe like the quick stops and like the whole View Askew universe is a little bit too much of a deep cut for you or too much of a deep dive, this is a way to get Kevin Smith's comic sensibilities in a pretty accessible hardcover and not a bad price. So I thought that was interesting. The premise seems interesting to me. Um, Definitely looks like it's going to be a little gory, a little slash him up, you know, but it sounds cool. There's a severed hand here on the cover. Anyway, in shops on June 14th, final order cutoff is this weekend or Monday, April the 3rd. And I think that's the last book that I wanted to spotlight, but always do some honorable mentions because I like to keep this series just for series debuts. But there's almost always something really interesting in the catalog. So if you're not familiar with the way the Spawns universe is going right now, basically every month, at least for the last 2, Todd has basically commissioned one cover artist to do a cover for each of the Spawn's universe titles. So Spawn, King Spawn, Gunslinger Spawn, and The Scorched. And next month, I think for the month of April and May, we're getting The Scorched, or we're getting covers by Mark Brooks. And this actually a Mark Brooks connecting cover for all 4 titles. So this version or this connecting cover for The Scorched, issue number 17, is on FOC this weekend. And Mark Brooks is like my favorite cover artist right now. So I got to grab it, even though I'm not picking up the rest of the series. I'm grabbing at least that connecting set. Speaking of Mark Brooks, Immortal X-Men returns on this week's final order cutoff catalog. Sense of Sinister is almost over, and so Immortal X-Men is going to resume with issue 11. Of course, we're going to deal with the fallout and stuff, but I'm excited to get back to the regular X-Men universe. I'm kind of annoyed with the Sense of Sinister event, and that Storm cover is dope. That's actually the cover A. Also, I covered this series a couple weeks ago, Astrobots #1 from Whatnot Publishing. Apparently got pushed back. The final order cutoff deadline got moved. So that's on final order cutoff this weekend. So if you did pre-order it with your shop, you're probably good, but you want to just double check and make sure your name is on the list for this series if that was something that you're interested in. From some of the same creators as the original Transformers series. So those are my honorable mentions, and that's pretty much it for the FOC list this weekend. Go ahead and call your shops like pretty much right now as you're watching this. And if you want to get first dibs on my recommendations and a little bit more of my sort of thoughts about comics, go ahead and sign up for the newsletter. It's called This Week in Comics. You can sign up for it at thisweekincomics.com. That's going to do it for me. Thank you all for watching. Thanks to the channel members for making this video possible. I'll see you in another one real soon. Peace.